As students are looking to end their career internship from Muskego High School and graduate, we need two forms filled out and completed. The first of two forms that must be completed is the post-program completion survey. Please go through this survey and fill it out. The majority of this survey can be filled out by the students. The employers need to fill in the bottom information with their name, company, signature, and date this is completed. Preferred methods is if employers can print out this document, physically sign it, scan it back in, and email it to Mr. Micklig. Or if you can print it out, but you do not have access to a scanner, you could take a picture of the form after it's been signed and then email the picture to Mr. Micklig. If you do not have the ability to print out this form, you can simply fill in the box where signature is supposed to be, do a save as, and send this to Mr. Micklig, and we will accept it due to our current COVID-19 situation, the pandemic that we're in. Students, when you are done filling out your portion of this form, you must do a save as and then send it to your employer. First, students will fill out their name. We have expected high school graduation date already filled in for you, and we already have the school district filled in for you. Students must put in their cumulative GPA at this point. Then, we have two boxes that we can fill out. If students are going to continue employment, full or part-time, they will fill out this top section here. If students will not be working after they graduate high school, whether it be full or part-time, and are going to take a furlough from the workforce, they would fill out this bottom section. So if you are going to work full or part-time, you would check this box. After checking that box, identify whether you're going to be full or part-time. Students entering post-secondary education that may be working full-time over the summer and then reducing hours to winter or summer breaks after that point in time would still click part-time, even though they'll be working full-time hours before leaving for college or the university. Then we need to go through and check all boxes that imply. Is employment related to this YA program or training? So students working with a manufacturing partner, if they're going to stay in that sector and work with the manufacturing partner after high school, they would click that this is related to their training. Employment is with the same employer. Are students going to continue this place of employment for the person that will be signing this document on the bottom? Is the employment seasonal and or intermittent? So our college students, this might be a box that you're going to fill out because of you working winters and summers only, and or the employment might be seasonal or intermittent where you only have work in spring, summer, and fall. Is employment an internship? Will you be doing an intern after high school? Are you entering a local union or other internship opportunities available to you? Is the employment military? If you are entering the military, you will then click this box. Are you also entering post-secondary education or training? Are you also entering a registered apprentice? So are you going to continue with this employer full-time and do a registered apprentice with this employer? Are you going to work full-time but also have health and personal issues that impact the ability for full-time employment? Once this is completed, you will then go over here and fill out the following information. What your wage is going to be. Use your current wage if you are going to stay with your employer. Use the starting wage if you're shifting to a new employer. What your start date will be. If it is with your current employer, you can just put a start date of today. If it is with a new employer, put when you will start. Position title is optional, and industrial sector fill out as best as possible. If you are in manufacturing, architecture and construction, hospitality, hotel, tourism. The industrial sector is following the 16 career clusters. If the student accepted a job at a different employer, please provide that information down here. So if you will no longer be continuing with your current employer that you've done your internship throughout the school year, you will now fill in that information there. Who the employer is. Use the company's name, not your supervisor or boss's name. Then you will fill out the street address, city, county, state, and zip. Again, this is the section for students that will continue employment, full or part-time, after high school. If you are not going to continue work after high school, you will click this bottom box. Then we need you to check one on the left-hand side. Student did not apply for further employment. So student did not apply with their current employer to continue or did not apply for another job. They would check this box here. Student applied for jobs, whether it be with their current employer or other ones, but was not interviewed, would be checked here. Interviewed by various employers, whether their current YA employer or another, but not interviewed, would be checked here. And student was offered continued employment but did not accept. So student is choosing not to work after high school for various reasons that they're looking to pursue. Then on the right hand side, you will check all that apply. Is the student entering post-secondary education or other training program? Student was unable to find an entry-level position to apply for. Student had change in career interest or plans. So students were in the hospitality, hotel, tourism industry and then moved into the financing sector and have not secured a job at this time. Or students have health, personal issues that prohibit employment. Once this is completed, the student should hit Save As and then send this to their employer. The employer will then put in their name, and this can be their supervisor, boss, HR department, whoever fills out forms and documentations for the student. Company name. If you have the ability, well, I would do date completed first. Then at this point in time, if you have the ability to print this document out, print it, sign it, scan it back in, and email it to Mr. Micklig. Or at this point in time, if you have the ability to print it, take a picture of it, then send it to Mr. Micklig. Or if you don't have the ability to print it, then you can just retype your name as you did in the upper box. At this point in time, the document is completed. At any point in time when you are done filling out this document electronically, make sure you do a Save As, and then at that point in time, you'll be able to fill the completed document to Mr. Micklig. Thank you for filling this out. If you have any questions or concerns, you can contact Mr. Micklig via email or phone.